All right, we're here with Bonin and Josh from Pepsi.
How are you?
Can you guys introduce yourself?
Oh, sure.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
I'm Josh Karpf. I am a manager of digital communications for Pepsico.
Yeah, Bonin, Bough, director of digital and social media for Pepsico.
You guys gained a hell of a lot of fans in our industry this year when you pulled out of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's weird because everybody is wow, was it difficult for you guys to make the decision to pull out of the Super Bowl? It's funny because it really wasn't. Everybody across the entire organization was aligned. I mean, look, we love a Super Bowl. Super Bowl is an amazing platform, and we know the Super Bowl well. We've been there for 20 plus years. Our sister brand, the sister brand to Pepsi, Frito-Lay, it was there this year. But for this program specifically, it just wasn't the strategic fit. We wanted the ability to actually showcase the program over a period of time because it does have a little bit of complexity. And we've been talking a lot about it was about creating a movement and not about a moment. And I think we were successful at doing that.
Anybody not get it? Any backlash at all?
In the organization?
No, or in the industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I think the few detractors that there were thought it was maybe gimmicky, and it's interesting because the other day I sat back and thought about it. What's so great about this program is that it wasn't a little social media program off to the side, that this is the core mechanism of the overall program, and what it did is it got every single person in the organization laser focused on the success of this, which is why the program is as successful as it is, and this is the only thing we're doing as a brand. It's the refresh project, partner, so on and so forth, so yeah.
From a marketing perspective, what do you think is the biggest challenge for a beverage brand?
Biggest challenge I think for any brand, not just a beverage brand or food and snacks brand, is breaking through the clutter. And I think to your point originally about sort of focusing just on a refresh for Pepsi, I think the key is going to be how can a brand own one thing or do one thing really well as opposed to the traditional model of trying to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, be everywhere? How can we pick one area, one focus, and really invest behind that? And I think it correlates well to digital and social media. Like if you're, if you want to focus on Facebook and that's where your audience is, like how do you really focus on building an audience in Facebook and scaling that, or Twitter, or whatever it is? Pick one thing and do that well, because I think we all know consumers are saturated with messages, but if you can really find a utility or one thing that you can own that your consumers know you for, I think that's going to be the future for marketers.
Yeah, and I also think the toughest thing right now for brands is to get out of their own way and get out of the mindset of, I think Josh points, and we talk about this all the time, scale. Scale is outrageously important to brands our size. It is so important, but scale can't be a blinder to investing or thinking different about new technology. So before, we wouldn't get into a technology, not just us, in general, brands, wouldn't get into a technology unless it had the right scale. Well, how many impressions can I deliver? Well, how big is the site's audience? Whereas now, we are really laser focused on shifting, is this a smart concept? And then how do we bring our scale or match media or whatever it is to bring that? We talk a lot about shifting from impressions to connections. So how do we use our impressions to deliver deep connections or to scale up smart ideas?
You guys work with a lot of agencies. Even individual brands will have multiple agencies. How do you go through breaking that work up and deciding who gets this piece, who gets that piece, and how do you do that and yet still keep consistency? And
how do we do that? No, it's first of all, everybody is, what I love right now is that it's kind of like the Renaissance period of digital again. Like everybody's trying to rethink it. Some people get it, some don't, but everybody's smart and really trying to apply it. We really try to work with teams of talent. There's talent across, we just identify, here's what these folks are good at, here's what these folks are good at. Sometimes there might be agencies that have everything, but a lot of times stuff is so emerging or so different, that you want different thinkers around the table. Mindset from creative to digital to PR to pure play social, all those mindsets are different. So it makes it a lot more fun though when there's a lot.
What would you say to other marketers who are looking to hire a digital agency? How do you cut through the crap, and how do you know that you're hiring somebody who's got it?
I think you have to look at the work, and I think you got to see how. And this is obvious, but get beyond a website. How are they using existing platforms and channels for their clients? And is it, you have to think about Is an agency just adding some Facebook or Twitter or sprinkling on an idea, or is it really, to your point originally, is it baked in from the start? So I think that is just at the core, just getting beyond like making a really pretty website, looking at how they're integrating existing networks into what they're bringing their clients.
That's what, you know, I came from agency, so I spent 10 years in agency, and I love agency. Every minute of agency is amazing, and it's like napalm in the morning going into a pitch, and I love it. But I think right now, I got a chance to meet with all the majors when I came over to Pepsi, which was really interesting, and I put myself in the mindset of, okay, I have to think different about how we're going to really integrate social, right, into this. And so what I noticed, look, I'm not naming any names, a lot of the digital agencies still, their business models are revolved around design and build. And that is an issue when there's so many platforms that you can pull off the shelf. And when you think about it, you know, a lot of agencies tell me, well, everybody thinks about social media. Yeah, but do you have a lot of social media people who that's just their role to just think about social media? I know everybody gets it, but are they people who just think about it? And then I listen to the language. So even the process language, deployment, those language, and when you hear the language that's around here, nobody's talking about deployment and stopgap and state, you know, none of that stuff exists, you know? So when you hear those agencies, their language hasn't changed. That's because their process really hasn't changed. So it's not really integrating. Some agencies have one director of social media. Well, if this is as big as we think it's going to be, that's not big enough, you know?
What percentage of your overall marketing budget would you suggest for marketers to devote to social?
None. No. You know, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a percentage of. I think it's an integration within. So, you know, again, shift from impressions to connection. So, if me driving you from a Gatorade ad to a Facebook program, is that considered social media? I don't know. You know, I don't know. So, how do we integrate it in where it's appropriate? Let's not think about it, because again, that's what, if we think about channel, spend here, then we're going to miss the power. And that's what I think. You know, look, we can't claim that Pepsi, we knew that this was going to be, you know, but oddly we fell into this situation where we didn't treat it as a separate little thing, channel, and that's what's made it good. And anyway, it's changed the way I've been thinking about it too. So we're not percentage spend, and that's why I think, you know.
For me, I find it surprising that as a beverage brand,
we're so tasty. It's an amazing beverage. Sorry, no, go ahead.
That you're almost in a political situation with the obesity epidemic, which I would think, as you're like walking in as a marketer to a beverage brand, you wouldn't expect to have to, like 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had to deal with it. Like, how have you approached the challenge of dealing with the obesity epidemic?
You know. Look, no, we're not blind to any of the fact that it's an issue, and where the success for us and where we are. First, you got to understand, Indra, who's our CEO, came in and, you know, laid out performance with purpose, which is our internal business mantra, and that's the reason why. I mean, I can hear her speak and cry some days. That's the reason why I joined this organization. And basically, what it is we have to perform clearly, but we have an obligation to do that in a way that leaves a positive social imprint on the world. And well, whether it's 50% reduction in plastic in our bottles, or, you know, commitments to meet specific nutritional, whatever it is, you know, every brand has to live up to a bigger, and we have to do it in a way that makes business sense, because at the end of the day, as our portfolio transforms, it's going to be profitable for us, you know, and that's smart. And with obesity, we have to partner to stop, you know, with the people who are bringing about change in obesity, whether it's moderation, diet change, you know, whatever it is. And so it's less about it's a threat to us and more about an opportunity to partner with them to actually bring about, you know, transformation in society. And that's what's so amazing about the organization, just personally, is how everybody is committed to thinking that way. And it's Indra who's brought that thinking through the organization, and it's pretty amazing. So, sign of a great leader. Yeah.
How do we find you on Twitter?
I'm at Bough, BOUGHB.
I'm at Karpf, so that's JKARPF.
Silent F.
Silent F.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh, Bonin, brand Flakes for breakfast.
Nice. We love you guys. Thank you.